Okay, let's jump straight into it. Welcome to a hyper-fast explainer breaking down history's most unbelievable, completely verifiable, and utterly bizarre true stories. We are moving at absolute light speed today, so you're gonna want to pay attention.
But look, before we even get into it, consider this your official historical disclaimer. Every single thing we're about to cover actually happened. No myths, no urban legends, just pure, unadulterated, wild human history.
So, buckle up. We're tossing out the boring textbooks today. The only question is, are you ready to have your mind completely blown?
Part 1. Badasses, Pirates, and Presidents. We're kicking things off with the undisputed monarch of the seas, Pirate Queen Qing Shi. And the sheer scale of her operation is just staggering. She commanded an absolute army of over 70,000 pirates roaming the South China Sea. And she didn't just have a few scrappy boats either. We're talking a dominant, sprawling fleet of 1,200 ships. To put that into perspective for you, she was vastly more powerful than Blackbeard or literally any pirate you've ever seen in the movies.
But you know what her most crucial status? Zero, as in zero defeats. She was completely untouchable by global navies. She fought the massive empires of her day and literally never lost a single time.
So, how does a story like that end? Well, instead of going down in some fiery blaze of glory, she executed the greatest retirement plan in human history. In 1810, she just surrendered on her own terms. She negotiated full pardons for her entire crew, demanded they get to keep all their stolen loot, and retired filthy rich and widely respected. I mean, what a total legend.
Speaking of untouchable survivors, let's fast forward to Cuban leader Fidel Castro, who dodged over 634 bizarre assassination plots. We are talking cartoonishly wild schemes here. Poisoned cigars, deadly milkshakes, a diving suit laced with toxic fungi, and, I kid you not, exploding seashells. And not a single one worked.
He actually mocked his enemies about it, joking that if surviving assassinations was an Olympic sport, he'd win the gold. It really just proves that sometimes reality is way stranger and honestly a lot more resilient than a Hollywood spy script.
All right, part 2, warfare's most absurd moments. Okay, picture this. It's 1932, and Australian farmers are begging the government to stop these massive flocks of crop-destroying emus. So the military actually rolls out with actual machine guns and thousands of rounds of ammo. But the giant birds just scattered, regrouped, and completely outmaneuvered the soldiers. After a month of total humiliation, the military just gave up. The birds literally won a war against the army.
If you think that's embarrassing, wait until you hear about the shortest war in recorded human history. It lasted a mere 38 minutes. In 1896, the British issued an ultimatum to the Sultan of Zanzibar. At 9:02 a.m., they opened fire. By 9:40 a.m., the Sultan had fled and the entire war was over. That is literally faster than an episode of your favorite sitcom.
Moving on to Part 3, Ancient Oddities and Inventions.
Let this timeline marinate for a second. The University of Oxford started teaching students in the year 1096, but the famous Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, that wasn't founded until 1325, which means a university in England is literally older than the entire Aztec Empire. Crazy, right?
And whatever you do, do not underestimate ancient science. Around 1350 BC, ancient Egyptians invented a pregnancy test where women would urinate on wheat and barley seeds. If the seeds sprouted, she was pregnant. Now, it sounds like pure magic, but modern scientific studies have shown this method actually had up to an 85% accuracy rate.
Although we really can't praise ancient hygiene quite as much. Roman public toilets were basically just open rows of benches. They were literal social hubs where citizens would casually discuss politics and close business deals mid-squat. And instead of toilet paper, yeah, they shared a single communal sponge on a stick. Gross.
All right, let's wash our hands of that and get into Part 4, Surviving the Impossible.
The ocean is dark, it's deep, and it has claimed countless lives and ships throughout history. But there was one man who simply refused to let the ocean take him. Enter Arthur Priest. He was a stoker, meaning his job was at the very bottom of the ship, literally the hardest place to escape from. Yet, listen to this absolutely absurd resume of survival. He survives a massive ship collision in 1908, another one on the Olympic in 1911, the actual sinking of the Titanic in 1912,
Then, the sinking of the Alcantara and the Britannic in 1916. And finally, the sinking of the Donegal in 1917. The guy was basically unsinkable.
And finally, Part 5, the missing human history.
Think about this. Anatomically modern humans have been roaming the Earth for roughly 200,000 years. But our written history? It really only covers the last 6,000 years. That means that a staggering 97% of our entire human story is completely missing. Just totally lost to time, with almost no record whatsoever.
Which leaves us with this final, completely mind-bending question. If 97% of our time on Earth is just a blank page, what unimaginable badasses, bizarre inventions, and insane events are we completely missing? Just think about that. Thanks for joining me on this rapid-fire explainer. Stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.